Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to today's live Q&A. Today we're going to be talking about the cost of living as a student in Glasgow. I'm Emma, I'm from External Relations, and I'm delighted to be here today and to be joined by some of our student ambassadors. We have Che, we have Arian, Rose, and Dile on the call. Would you like to introduce yourselves at the moment? So Che, we'll start with you.
Hi guys, my name is Che and I'm an undergrad psychology student and I'm currently in third year right now.
Thanks. Arian, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Aryan. I'm from New Delhi, India. I'm studying MSc Media Communications, and I'm also a student ambassador here at the university.
Fab, thanks. Rose?
Hi guys, I'm Rose. I'm Scottish and I'm studying economics and I'm in my second year.
Brilliant. And finally, Andile.
Hi, I'm Adile. I'm from Canada and I'm in my final year genetics program.
Great, thanks. So we will be with you for the next half an hour or so. And for those of you who are watching live, you can submit questions through our live chat, and one of our colleagues behind the scenes, they will do their best to answer all of your questions. So yeah, let's get started. Firstly, Arian, we'll start with scholarships because I know you've applied for one. How did you get on with this? How was the process? Can you tell us a bit about what that was like?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Emma. I applied for a scholarship which was called Global Leadership Scholarship. The application process was quite simple and straightforward, I would say. To apply, I just had to fill a basic application form on the scholarship portal, and also had to write a motivation letter that why I want to study at the University of Glasgow. Also, like I had to tell my future plans in that motivation letter. So yeah, it was quite simple if I compare to the external scholarship such as Chevening scholarship or Commonwealth scholarship. If you're applying to those external scholarship, the key to get them is to apply as soon as you can after your offer. Yeah.
Great, thanks. So I think that was to apply as soon as you can at the end there. Yeah, so that's really great to hear. There are lots of different scholarships available through the University of Glasgow, and we do have a scholarships database that you can use to search all of the scholarships that we have available. I'll stick with you, Arian. Do you have you accessed any free resources that the university provides? Do you have any sort of hints and tips, I guess, for people listening that might be useful?
Yes, of course. There are quite a lot of free resources which are available to students here at the university. There are also like program specific free resources. For example, I'm doing journalism, and there are like a lot of editing involved, like in one of our courses called Producing News. So we have been given with Adobe Creative Cloud, like Premiere Pro softwares that we can use on our personal devices and also in the university labs. Apart from that, if you're in STEM background, you also have like many programming language that university offer for free. There are also like many um, rooms that you can book in the university for free. Also, you can book like study spaces if you have like a group project coming up. That there was this interesting resources that I came across recently was the laptop loan scheme that students can avail if the laptop is not working, or like they forgot to bring it on campus, so they can just borrow from the library. Yes, so there are many, just like student have to contact the university and reach out. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really helpful to know about the laptop loan scheme. Thanks. So there are many clubs and societies at the University of Glasgow. We have over 300. Che, I might move on to you if that's okay. Can you tell us, is it expensive to join these? Have you joined any? Yeah.
So yeah, there are loads of societies that you can join, and most of them, to be a membership for most societies, you just have to pay like a small sum of fees for like either a whole semester or a whole year. That just like contributes to the society itself, and it usually is around like £5. It wouldn't be any more than that. And I know it's a bit different for sports teams that you have to get like a sports membership at the uni gym because you do use the resources there, and you have to pay like a fee towards like the sports team as well. But that gets you opportunities like travels to play games in other cities or like for your uniforms, jerseys, that type of things. And for a lot of the societies, you actually get like quite a bit of perks in terms of like local cafes and like local shops and stuff. Like for example, the societies the two of them that I'm in right now is the Glasgow Charity Fashion Show and Taiwan Society. They both have like a membership card you can sign up for if you're a member for the societies, and they do collaborations with like all the local cafes, bars, like independent shops, and you can get a small discount from using the card. So I think that's a really good way to, yeah, like be a part of a bigger community while getting some like financial discounts on top of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So can I check, is that the membership fee, does that kind of include all of the activities that you do, or sometimes do you need to pay for like additional activities when you're doing the club?
It depends on the society. A lot of them do like free events for the members. So like you won't have to pay to go to these events. Whereas if you're not a member, you will have to maybe pay a small fee to go to those events. Um, yeah, it really depends on the society,
Yeah.
but that's how most of them work.
No, that's great to know. Thank you. So you mentioned about food and discount. Some clubs and societies kind of have discounted links with sort of local cafes and things, and that brings us nicely onto our next question. Glasgow is a great place for food and for eating out. Do you guys know of any kind of places, maybe on campus or nearby, where students can have like if there's a good sort of student discount or potentially even like a free meal? Rose, do you want to start off?
As far as student discounts go, you can get some really good student discounts with the Student Beans app and Uni Days. Personally, for things like coffee, I think Black Sheep coffee is like really good because you can get a 20% discount. It's really close to the main campus. If you have a taste card with your bank, you could get 25% off. And there's also bi-weekly free lunches with Team UofG together. And then there's other ways to get free meals, like the GUU. They often host free community dinners, like in the Hive, and they're on a first come, first served basis. There's the Eco Hub, which feature a community fridge with free food available to staff and students. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There's just like little events on throughout the year. If you just like keep an eye out, check all the like Glasgow Uni Instagram stories is like the best way to keep track of that. And yeah, definitely check Uni Days and Student Beans before eating out as well.
Awesome, thanks. Lots there. Do they still do free kind of pizza slices? Is that a thing? Still, sometimes. Yeah.
Freshers, I've found that the past 2 years I've been here in Freshers, they do free pizza slices and other.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for free pizza slices in Freshers Week.
Definitely.
Fantastic. And Dealey, do you have anything else to add to that? That was pretty comprehensive, Rose, but Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Sorry, my bad. I
You're
guess
fine.
from my experience, usually I did take advantage of the black sheep coffee deal, as well as using just asking around in the local places, just like, hey, do you guys accept a student card for like discounted meals and everything? Most of the time they'll say yes, especially in like the West End in the city center. So I mean, usually my motto is just like the worst thing they can say is no, but
Mm.
um I mean, sometimes I particularly use this app, if I remember correctly. I think it's Too Good to Go, uh, where they tend to have discounted food. You don't even have to be a student. And usually they'll just have like some food items that didn't really sell during the day. And most of the time I got pretty good meals and such, from really great.
That's awesome. Yeah. Arian, do you have anything else, anywhere else we can go to find discounted food or free meals?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I usually go to UFG kitchen. It's like the food is great. I love it. Also, it's quite subsidized at like student rates, and it's right in the campus. Also, like every Tuesday we have like on our UFG Life app, we get an update of like every like after classes. I hear that there's a free meal that's happening in the union, and as well like I go to Subways a lot, because you can use your student card and you can get like pretty good, decent, meal for very cheap. So yeah,
That's great. Thanks. Yeah, the student card is
yeah,
brilliant. Um, okay, so moving on now to budgeting tools, kind of different ways that we can manage, manage our spending when we're a student. Andile, do you want to start? Do you have any sort of advice, that things that have been helpful, just to help kind of track your spending whilst you're a student?
Yeah, of course. In my experience, I actually just mainly used my own banking app. Um, Usually, or at least on my banking app, they'll tend to have like a weekly kind of spending rate, or explaining how you spent your money during the week. And then I could kind of just determine like, oh, okay, I spent a little too much on my regular fun stuff. Maybe I should just keep it down and then budget for that. Or usually sometimes I do use like budgeting tools within the app sometimes, to help me kind of keep myself from spending a little too much during the week or during the year. And yeah, I think, yeah, mainly I just use my banking app just to kind of help me sort out with my budgeting techniques. Like usually you'll be surprised if you kind of just look through your app and you're like, oh, okay, this actually can help me keep my budget in check and everything.
Yeah, yeah. I guess if you can see how much you're spending on clothes or on food or eating out, then you can start to see where your biggest expenses are each month, and then sort of manage going forward. Rose, do you have anything else? Any other ways that you've helped, um, that you've kind of managed your own finances?
Yeah, well, personally, I think it's really important to first of all know exactly like what's coming in every month so you can work out your outgoings. Um, I like to employ this method where I'll have like a designated amount, like maybe 50-60% for needs like rent, groceries, and then maybe 30% on wants, like going out, clubbing, student life sort of things, buying new clothes. And then that remaining 20% I'll use for just putting away in like a savings account or an ISA, or repaying any debts if you have any, or any like investments.
That's great. Yeah. Che, do you have anything else?
I think everyone kind of covered the most important parts, like kind of putting away like your money as soon as maybe you get paid or when you get your student loan in, so you don't like actually lose track of what, like, not having money to afford the things you actually need to pay for, like rent, groceries, that type of thing. And like Dee said, like a lot of banking apps that have like little pockets that you can put money in. Like I know like Monzo maybe does that, maybe Revolut does that as well. And you can like title them like this is for food, like groceries, for fun, like that type of things. So yeah, that's what.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. Che, I'll maybe stay with you if that's okay. And we're just going to move on a bit to talk about part-time work, because a lot of our students, alongside their degree program, have maybe one or two kind of part-time jobs. Um, how did you how do you find this, first of all? Because obviously you're a student ambassador. How do you find sort of balancing that with your degree? And how easy have you found it to find a part-time job in Glasgow?
So I currently have 3 side hustles that I'm working simultaneously. The first one is obviously student ambassador, like my role right now. So you do like campus tours and you do like online sessions with like offers holders and stuff. And I found that through the like career and employability service on the university. So they'll post like regular job advertisements about like the on-campus jobs that are available that they're taking in right now. And a 0-hour contract, so you just sign up for any shifts that you want to do, and you don't need to like ask for holidays or like, when you don't want to work that much during like maybe exam time, you don't have to. You just have like a minimum requirements of how many shifts you have to work maybe per year. So that's pretty manageable from like a every like day-to-day basis, especially like on campus jobs. You can just pop by. Like I always do it like in between classes, so maybe I have like an hour break, I will just use it to do my student ambassador like shifts. And another one is I work with a hospitality agency. It's called Selected Personnel, and that's also a 0-hour contract. And you get to work at like concerts, football games, like conferences as like maybe a barman or like a waiter, that sort of stuff. Um, so that's also been pretty manageable because of the 0-hour contract thing. And the third one is I'm a student ambassador, but for like a marketing company. It's called Raptor, and they recruit like students to be kind of like a student representative of like a company or stuff. So I've done with like Deliveroo, and right now I'm doing with like a cocktail can like company. So they'll give you like free products to kind of share with like amongst your community and stuff. So that's your main role. But then you also get like subsidized for tasks like posting on Instagram, which is relatively easy. And you also get really nice perks from getting all the free products. Like I have 500 cans of cocktail cans coming at my house every month. So that's definitely a perk.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it can be nice to have sort of the choice of, having to choose around, being able to choose shifts that work around your degree. And Delia, do you have any sort of advice on finding part-time jobs to kind of fit around your degree? How did you get on with that?
Usually, for myself, I just have to be honest with my employer, just like, hey, I'm an international, or I can't really work around this kind of scheduling since I'm a student. And I would tend to look for jobs that were kind of more student friendly. I know in the past, luckily with the UofG job service, they had a lot of student-friendly jobs as well. As a call campaigner, currently as a student ambassador, as well as even within those jobs, they tend to actually advertise as well, with like some opportunities like, hey, you can do something like this, or you can also do work within some conferences and stuff like that. And they tend to be quite flexible. So you just have to kind of look for friendly student part-time work or full-time work, depending on where you're stationed, um, as well as just communicate with your employer and say like, hey, by the way, I cannot work this week because I do have an exam happening, for example, or I can't work this week because I really have to focus on my studies. Can we do it another time? I can compensate another time as well. Um, Luckily with my two current jobs right now, they're quite flexible. They're more casual work, so I can just say, hey, this week I can't do it, um, or instead of, hey, if you need me to do some more shifts later, I can do it at this time. You just gotta communicate and everything.
Yeah, nice. Um, yeah, great, thank you. And obviously we have the University of Glasgow Careers Service, and they can help you once you're on campus with things like master CV sort of master classes, jobs master classes, helping create your CV, your interview skills. So actually getting that job, they advertise different internships and placements as well. We'll move on a bit now to talk about potentially one of the biggest monthly expenditures that you will have, which is your accommodation. I know a couple of our student ambassadors have lived in sort of student accommodation. Che, I think you have. Can you tell us about this? Maybe where you've lived, and how that was. Did you enjoy sort of living in halls of residence? And kind of a bit about the costs, like where sort of bills and insurance, was that all sort of in the same package?
Yeah. So we have quite a lot of options for accommodation. So I personally stayed at the one that's called Murano, which is the biggest one from the university, I think. And it all depends on like your preferences and like your budget, because some of the accommodations might be more expensive because they're like en suites, so you get your own bathroom and maybe a shared kitchen, and some of them are like shared bathrooms, and some of them are even shared rooms, I think. So you just have to look at like what you're kind of wanting to stay at, and also consider the budget that comes with it, because they will it won't range like massively, but it does range a bit. And with that, like with the what's it called, the bills, it comes with like electricity, gas, so you don't have to pay for like extra bills on top of your what you're paying. And you also, most of them get like a security as well, so you're always like, safe. And if you have any problems with that, you can always go to them as well. And like there's always accommodation like support teams for anything in terms of that as well. um I think one thing that I will note is that most of them don't have like a washing machine within the flat. So if you want to do your washing, you have to go to like the common thing, which does cost money, but it won't be like a ridiculous price either. When my pockets were really tight, I just started washing my clothes in my sink, which is but yeah, that's a choice. um yeah, but I really enjoy staying at accommodation. Like it's a really good way to make friends really quickly, because you're obviously put in a flat with like so many people that you have no idea who they are, but you guys all are on the same boat. Like you just want to make friends and you want to have a good like uni first year. So I think everyone's pretty much on the same page and everyone's really friendly. um and like being in a community as well, you get exposed to like more people that are not in your course, because those people are probably mostly the people that you encounter with, but like having the option of accommodation that expose you to so many more people from different like courses and like backgrounds and stuff, So I would definitely really recommend it.
Great, thanks. And Dile, do you have any sort of tips for finding affordable accommodation in Glasgow? Like, have you considered the location at all? Or potentially like flat sharing? Do you have any advice for people looking?
Yeah. So with my experience, since I didn't know anyone within my first year and I had to live in a private flat, I had to really consider about what my location um, is going to how is it's going to influence my rent pricing. So for sure, for example, going to the city center, it's going to be more expensive, way more expensive compared to like living in places that are a little bit further away from the city. And of course, if you're living closer to the university, that's a pretty good hotspot and everything, and everyone wants it. So the price is going to increase due to that demand. Um, so you kind of have to find a place if you're like planning to live by yourself, in a flat where it's like sort of a little bit further away from expensive hotspots. Or it's like kind of in between in those areas where it's like it's it's a favorable location, but it's not really that favorable if you understand what I'm getting at. As well as after finding out living by myself, wow, that's way too expensive. I found a pretty good set of pals and we decided to do a flat share, which like makes the cost or in my experience like almost split in half for me. Uh, which is pretty good. I'm not even paying 1,000 or anymore from my experience. But the only thing I would kind of, if you're an international student, I'll let you guys be aware of. We do have, or at least within the UK renting market, they do most of the time require you to have like a UK-based grantor. Grantor is just basically like a co-signer kind of person. So in case if you have like a really bad month, you can't pay or something, they're like they're just like your emergency backup plan. They usually require you to get a UK-based grantor, which the university does, I believe, have a UK-based grantor scheme, which international students can apply for. Or if you're not going with the university, there is companies that can be your UK-based grantor. Or if that's not an option or you're not really interested with like the pricing or the application process, sometimes you can ask your lawyer, not your lawyer, your landlord, let's see, your landlord to like pay in advance. And most of the time, uh you'll pay like 3 months or 6 months rent in advance. So 3 to 6 months of rent to advance. Just to let um, y'all be aware. Uh, and besides that, think, yeah, I think that's all I got. Just like, yeah, be aware of the area and everything.
Yeah, thanks. And obviously, in Scotland, we have free bus travel if you're under 22 years old. So if you did want to live slightly further from the University of Glasgow campus, you would still have free bus travel to get to your classes every day. So we're moving on to the final question now, and it's just more of a broad question, this one. So are there any like other kind of money saving tips that you think everyone who's listening in should know about? Che, I'll come to you first for this. Is there anything else that you think students should know about who are coming to study at Glasgow?
Like a kind of general like I think Dee mentioned, like just always ask for student discounts because sometimes they don't like advertise it to outside or you didn't know about it and you're actually kind of like you shouldn't pay the full price if you could get a student discount. So I'll definitely ask every store before you buy it. It might be annoying, but just ask like, hey, do you guys do student discount? Most of the time they do. And in terms of like maybe away students, I like if you're traveling from like England, for example, like on train lines, like for example, I found this one called Avanti Superfare, which is like powered by Avanti West Coast, and they do like a £30 like single ticket from Glasgow to London, which is really really good if you want to like travel back home for the weekend or just like going on a trip or something. It's not like widely advertised on like the actual website, so definitely like if you're using other train lines, you also kind of look for that as well. And I think also for like food, I think there was an app. It's kind of like Too Good to Go, but it's called Olio, and you can actually get like loads of free food from like Tesco, Sainsbury's, and like all the big like supermarkets, and it's just like all the stuff that are on reduced, and they give it to you at the end of the day. And then sometimes like when money is really tough, I just like go get a whole bag of free food and see what I can make of it, and then you can also distribute it so it doesn't go to waste. So I think that's all I got.
Thanks. Yeah, that's great. And Delia, you're next on my screen, so I'll come to you now. Just if you have anything else, any other sort of tips you think students should know about.
Yeah, of course. Immediately, I highly suggest signing up to there's some apps and programs called like Uni Days or Student Beans, and those apps tend to have like they'll always be making you aware of like what kind of discounts stores and restaurants have for students as well. Uh, Highly recommend, super great. Sometimes you can just like get a meal and some more for entirely for a discounted to almost free price, to be honest. So, as well as even with some stores, I know, I think I remember correctly, I know the store Uniqlo may have some student discounts associated with the uni days. They tend to like rotate every day, so it's fun app just to check out and see like, oh, what type of discount can I get for today?
That's brilliant. I didn't know Uniqlo had a student discount. Fab. Arian, do you have anything else?
Yes, I would say that cheap, shop at like a cheaper grocery stores, like Aldi or Lidl, compared to M&S or like expensive convenience stores. Also, like cooking like home based meal, and also doing meal prep instead of buying each and every meal outside. So that can really save a lot. Also, in terms of like buying books, if you want to purchase a book, you can always get a second-hand books from Facebook Marketplace, or also you can borrow a book from the library. As well, for like travel, what I personally use is as I'm above 22, so I usually take train to the university. So I have like a rail card discount, which is like one third of the actual ticket cost. So that also like quite useful, and it saves a lot in the end of the month. So yeah.
Great, thanks. Yeah, the uni library has 2.5 million books,
Right.
which is a lot. Rose, finally, do you have any other tips that you'd like to share?
Yeah. I would just really emphasize how important it is to just get into the habit of buying secondhand. Like as a student, you're not always gonna have a lot of money, so just even buying clothes on Vinted, buying textbooks online. Also, this is more of a niche one, but if you're a bit of a party animal, you could save a lot of money if you live in the West End by going to Oran Moor on a Friday and Saturday night because it's free, and then drink at home for prees, and that will save you a lot of money instead of spending it at bars and clubs. So yeah.
Love that. Thanks so much, all of our student ambassadors, our panel today. You've been amazing. We do have a podcast called Get to Know Glasgow, and they the more of our student ambassadors are leading on, and it is great because it talks all they talk a bit more about sort of money saving tips on there as well. So if you have any other kind of you want to know more about this, then that's a great place to look. But that is all we have time for today. Again, a huge thank you to our 4 student ambassadors and to everyone who's tuned in. We really hope that you found the session useful, and we hope to be seeing you on campus and welcoming you to Team UofG very soon. But for now, it's bye. Bye from us.
Bye.